So then, we are back with more understandings from the time of the Second Tabernacle services that we find in the Aramaic English translation of the word. This translation comes from the original manuscripts of the prophets of the Tzayelic lineage. So then we can understand the time of the end as per Yeshayahu the prophet. We find in a layer of understanding of the spring feast, autumn feast, and then the returning of the cities of the Messiah laid waste for many centuries. And during this time, after 09, where then the period of the dragon has started, then we begin our quest understanding firstly related with the Gentiles, after obviously the previous videos explained the most important tabernacling. Then computer and Gentiles, those are related instantly. The reason why it's because then we study the manuscripts of Daniel the prophet, and at the end of the 1,000 years of deceit, Daniel mentioned they would have a peak of knowledge, and then from a viewpoint of a tradesperson, then computers trade via computer. So then we find ourselves then adjusting our situations as per the instructions, so then we can get the most of the harmony from this time of the restoration period. Obviously, not only this, but the nations are then realizing that they were from the time of deceit, and then the new system yet coming, and then they have to take a part on their own of understanding the many changes and adjustments in their own governments, so then they are in harmony with the holy instructions. As very obvious, you find then many kinds of transitions, such as then the first transition was the relationship with the Creator and Ibrahim. Then you find a relationship with the first son of Ibrahim, the relationship of the Creator with the second son of Ibrahim. Then you find then the Hebrews coming out of Egypt, and then the other transition. But then during this time we find ourselves then understanding the Gentiles and then the computerized systems, where then later in the future, when the system becomes available, then they can do trade as per then the instructions from the Creator via Ibrahim to his son Ishmael. So then the second stick then is restored. So then obviously we find ourselves then try to understand the designers related with this time, how they're going to make this new system worldwide to work for their benefit and also for the benefit of the rest of the planet. So then we begin our quest obviously with China being the dragon, and then the establishment of the new system via the Chinese. But then there is also the Northern Kingdom and Southern Kingdom, and these, they make the designing of the new trades system. As per the instructions, we find then the 11th chapter. If you read out of the context and the content, you may think that the kingdom of the north coming towards the kingdom of the south and subduing it, you may perceive as enemies, but they are not. They are not enemies. The kingdom of the north and kingdom of the south, they are very much friends, along with the kingdom of the east, making the designing of the new trade system. So then, why then the kingdom of the north must subdue the kingdom of the south? It's because of the riches of DRC or Congo. It is the most rich area of our time, the time of restoration, and then what it takes to get this initiation of the system and the technology requiring rare materials. Congo is replete with it. And the reason why then at some point the kingdom of the north is coming towards the kingdom of the south is to straighten out the entire situation of Congo and making it legal for the usage primarily of the dragon and the designers. It does not mean that later then the dragon may decide to share some of those rare materials with other countries. But firstly we must understand then what the designers are going to come up with until Congo becomes then a place where organization then is very obvious, so then other nations can expect from then on. how to receive those materials if required so. At the moment, we do understand that any nation involved in Congo must get out of there real fast. The reason why we read these is because Daniel was extremely explicit from a viewpoint of a tradesperson. He was a tradesperson under many kings. He had extremely important position, and he knew not only then he was doing the work for the kings, but he was also understanding the Gentile layer related with his time during the spring feast, after the spring feast, during the time of the seat, during the time of the restoration, and then the autumn feast known as vengeance. He had extremely important position, and he was very explicit. He said, and if you study then in Hebrew, you find then the word subdue, it's a very strong word in Hebrew. It's taking down the enemy, but the enemy is not the kingdom of the south itself. These are the kingdoms, for instance, speaking from the time of Daniel's language, those kingdoms or nations in our time, then partaking with the DRC what not belongs to them. Thus then the kingdom of the north coming towards the kingdom of the south, and then aiding then the kingdom of the south in straightening them out. This means making then the kingdom of the south, east, and north then the designers as per then Daniel the 11th chapter, and then a couple of chapters later in the Apocrypha, then you will understand not only the kingdom of the east as part of it, but becomes then the spiritual understanding of the world as then the layer of understanding of the spirit, Bel and the dragon, as we had experienced before our very eyes. There is already in the spirit, the trades section of the spirit, there is already fighting because of it. But then we find ourselves understanding the decentralization of the monetary virtual system for the usage when the new system becomes available. So at the moment, what can we expect from the writings of Daniel as precisely as he stated? And there are more writings available from Yirmiyahu, for instance. We did then understand the 62nd chapter of Yirmiyahu had a big takanot in it and can be filtered, because then when we understand tabernacling ever since its starting, then it becomes very solid and the understanding is very clear. So there are other manuscripts and must be studied very cautiously. But then, as far as DRC, the richest place in this planet related with the time of the restoration and prior of the autumn feast, it is the most rich place in this planet. There are minerals there that we don't even know of. That's why then the Creator very wisely, he chose Africa, the northern section, of having holy tabernacling up there, and then wooing the people of the south, because he knew there was a situation going on in the south and they should be wooed, because it is related with then obviously a layer of the Gentiles and obviously a layer of then the Hebrews. Please stay tuned much more.